First is node cluster IP and load balancer. So we told that when we are dealing with cluster IP, it is mostly used for internal communication between the pods. When I am talking about node port, I'm generally dealing about machines which are internal or Kubernetes, which is installed on premises. And when I'm talking about load balancer, it is generally done on cloud environment. So load balancer and node port are external services, and this guy is my internal service. Okay, cluster IP. So let me just go to my console and start my work for today. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to start today with a Kubernetes container. So let me come here and say Kubernetes engine. I want to start a Kubernetes engine. I'll keep all the default values and I'll simply create a container with standard configuration. I'll just give a name. This again, the same name is what I'm going to give. Demo cluster. Okay. The rest I've left everything as it is, and I am trying to run this. Once it is done, I will also activate my Cloud Shell so that I can run all my CLI commands here. I can push it to a new page, and here I can close it. If you want to connect to this, simply come here, connect. You'll get a command, but obviously it will not connect now because this machine is still not up and running. But I'll wait for this to come up and running. Here, I can simply come and paste this thing and I can run this, but it will not run because it will say that the cluster is not available. Now, if you're, so it says kubeconfig generated for this thing, check the cluster status for more information. Okay, so it is giving you a warning like demo cluster is not running. In case you want to connect, you will have to wait for your machine to come up. So today what we will be doing is we know about various components, like I know about containers. On top of that, I have pod. On top of that, I have replica set. And then on top of that, I have deployment. Then on top of that, I have service. Now, there is a possibility. So give me so I'll give you a scenario. Now assume that in this scenario, I have 3 containers, okay? So this is my front end, this is my middle layer, and this is my database or the back end. Okay. Now, when I talk about web application, this has to be exposed to the outside world, or this wants to go to the outside world, or this will take the traffic from outside world. 1 second. Okay, so this web will go and take from the outside world. Okay, and this will be my load balancer. Okay, but these 2 guys are my internal stuffs. They will not be exposed to the outside world. So I'll keep them as my cluster IP. Cluster IP. Okay, now they are internal, but they will be sharing some values, or let me say if it's a database, then it will say share some thing like username and password. So when I talk about username and password, this is confidential data. So if you have any confidential data, you put it in a special kind of file called secret file. So today we will be learning about this secret file. Then DB will also have something like port number, endpoint. Okay, so these things are known to everybody. Even if you tell everybody, there is no problem. So this kind of content I will put in my config map. So today what we are going to do is we are going to learn about 2 more components here. One is going to be my secret and the other one is going to be my config map. Okay, now if there is a question which says, what is the difference between a secret file and a config map file? So my answer will be config map and secret file are same. Okay. The way they are written is almost same. Obviously, little bit of syntax difference and all will be there, but the way they are written is almost same. In secret file, you write the kind as secret. In config map file, you write the kind as config map. And in secret, you put files which are confidential, or you put data which is confidential, like something like this. Let me come here. See here. Now this is how my config map will look like. Now, if I take it to my Notepad++, second. Okay, so this is how my config map looks like. The version is v1, the kind is config map, and here I'm storing something called Mongo URL. So it is an endpoint, and I've just given a name to this. Okay, so API version, kind, metadata, give a name, whatever name you want to give. In the data section, you actually give a value. So my Mongo URL is this. Now, what is Mongo? So to understand what is Mongo, I will come to hub.docker.com. And here I will type Mongo. So basically, Mongo is a database. Okay, so it says MongoDB is a document database which is highly available and scalable. Okay, so basically it is a database. In this example, if you keep going down, it will explain further about what is Mongo, it is free, open source, all those things it will talk about. Here, I'm interested, there will be some variables which are commonly used. Like, let me come here. Down the line, you will see there are some environment variables which are commonly used, like Mongo init username, Mongo init root password. So anything like this, root username, root password, these are confidential information, and you should not expose these information at any point of time. Even if it is within the container, you should not expose these credentials. Yes, if you have some other values, so this is also known as Docker secret. So if you have other values like your URL, port number, these can be shown to everyone. Okay, so in my example, if you see, the Mongo URL is something which I'm trying to expose to others, and I'm saying it's Mongo service. So this is okay, but at any point of time, I will never ever. So let me just copy this entire thing. So at any point of time, I will never expose this guy. So you will never ever write like this. So username, let me say, is admin, and password is pass123. You will never ever hard code your values like this. This is a big security flaw. So there are two questions here. One is how a config map and how a config map and secret are different. So the first difference is kind. So when you come to kind, a secret goes with a kind as secret, and a config map goes with a type as config map. When you talk about data, the confidential data which you want, you put it here. Okay, and any confidential data, which is like username and password, you put it here in the secret file. And anything which is confidential, but not that, like you have to hide from everyone. So everybody will know that the port number is this much, the endpoint is this much. So that is not required to hide it from others. So you can put it in config map. So if I cannot write my username and password, then how should I write it? So to write your username and password, you can first encode it. Now, what is encoding? So we come here. So there are many encoding techniques. Okay, one of the encoding technique is base64. Okay, so I'm doing a kind of encryption. So my username is Mongo user and my password is Mongo password. So I'll do something like this. If you run this command echo -n, whatever name you have, and pipe base64, it will convert it into its equivalent encrypted ID. So let me run this here. So I'm running echo minus n, whatever username you have, and I'm trying to encrypt it as base 64. So I get an encrypted value. I'll take this and put it here. So now, even if I put my value here like this, nobody will be able to see. More importantly, this is my password. So this is my password. So now I am safe. Earlier, I was hard coding my values. Now I'm not hard coding my values. I have done a base 64 encryption on that. And after doing the encryption, I have kept it in the secret file. So secret file will be keeping my confidential data. And on top of that, I have encrypted my content. Okay, so this is how you write a secret. So as of now, let's go ahead and write a secret file. So let me just go ahead and create a secret file. There are so many things. Whatever I have, okay, I'm deleting everything. Okay, so you can see I don't have anything here right now. Now let me start with the first content. So I'm creating my secret file, which is, you give any name. I have given mongo secret.yaml. And here I'm going to put values. What values I'm going to put? So this is what I'm going to put. Now, if I come here, API version v1, kind is secret. Metadata, I have given a name. Type is opaque. So there are different types of encryption technique. I have used opaque technique. Then data is Mongo user, and there is a value. And password is, again, there is a value for this. Control X, Y, enter. Now I want to apply this. So I'll say kubectl apply -f Mongo secret YAML. So let it work. It says secret, Mongo secret has been created. So if I come here and say kubectl get secret, I will see this secret. One is the default one, which is coming from Amazon. I'm not worried about this. I'm worried about this Mongo secret, which is type as opaque. Inside that two data items are there, and it has been created 9 seconds back. So what are those two data items? So this is Mongo user and Mongo password. Similarly, I have to create config. So I will go with something like this, nano. So syntax wise, if you see, your config and secret are almost same. The only difference is when you go ahead and keep the data inside. How to apply this? So you say kubectl apply -f, and you say mongo config.yaml. Now come here and say kubectl get config map, and you can see Mongo config with one data item inside has been created. Now the same I want to see on the console. Okay, come here, refresh this guy, and here you will see there is something called secret and config map. Click on this. What happened? It is not displaying anything. Space. Wait a second. It is not showing me anything. I don't know why is it so. I will come back to this after some time. Ideally, it should show me here. I don't know why it is not showing. Is there some filter because of which it is not showing? Or probably it will take some time. I don't know why it is not showing, but ideally it should show here. Okay, your secret and config, but I don't know. There is some reason why it is not showing. We'll wait for some time to come for this to come up. Secret file will be used in AWS also. Secret is used everywhere. You can use in AWS, GCP, Kubernetes, everywhere it is used. The only way we use it is different. Okay. Now we have a config map. We have a secret. Now, how to use this config map and secret in your deployment file or in your YAML file? So anyone can decrypt this, right? See, it is a demo where I have used base 64 encryption. Okay. So yes, anybody can decrypt it. But when you go to production grade environment, okay, you will have your own keys. So if I come here, 1 second, why is it running here? If I come here, you will have something called KMS. Okay, KMS is nothing but key management system. So Google will provide you the key or the crypto keys or the configuration keys to decrypt and encrypt. So obviously nobody apart from the one who is owner of the key will be encrypt and decrypt the password. So obviously that you have to pay some money and get this, but that will be done by Google in your project or in this thing. So you need to buy the key. Okay. Now I have created my key. Now I will create a deployment file. So I'm creating a deployment file with this name as mongo.yaml. Let me come here. Now mongo.yaml. And now I will show you how to use those keys which we have created. Okay. So let me come here, 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 sorry, here. So let's ignore this for time being. The rest you ignore. See here, there are two things. One is service and the other one is deployment. Okay. So when I talk about deployment, API version is apps v1, kind is deployment. In the metadata section, you have given a name to this Mongo deployment. And in the label, you have given a label. You give any label as app Mongo 123 or any name you give. The label should be unique throughout and it should match with this guy. API version service. This metadata gives the name of the service. And in the specification section, this label should match. Okay, this label is missing here. I will give the label also here. This label is missing here. I will wait. Give me 1 second. Spec. Wait a second now. Spec metadata. So in metadata, you have given a name. Sorry, my bad. So I am saying the label is Mongo. So if you see here in the spec section, there is something called selector. App is Mongo. So these keywords should match this guy and this guy. Then my service will run at 27017 port number. I have not mentioned what is the kind of the service. So by default, it will take this as cluster IP. Okay. Then back to my deployment. In the deployment, I am saying I need one replica of this. The match label is Mongo. And here, if you want, you can run the latest image or you can run 5.0, whichever you want. But the most important thing here is these two guys. I have something called environment variable. The first environment variable is this Mongo init root username. And you see value for this keyword or this environment variable is coming from a secret file. The name of the secret file is Mongo secret. And inside that file, there is a key called Mongo user. So the value for this particular username is coming from here, which is a very safe way of passing your encrypted data. Similarly, I have my password and I'm passing the password like this. So the value is coming from a secret file. The name of the secret file is Mongo secret. and the key which I'm using is Mongo password. So let me just run this guy. And along with that, I will run this service also. Okay. So let me just come here and paste this entire content. Okay. So I'm creating two things here, service with the name as Mongo service. And I'm creating a deployment with the name as Mongo deployment, and the replica is 1. Control X, Y, enter. Now go ahead and say kubectl apply -f mongo.yaml. So two things will be created, deployment and service. So as of now, if I come here, kubectl get all, I can see my stuffs. So you can see one service with the name as Mongo service is coming up. It is cluster IP. Internally, it is running here. Externally, I have not exposed it, so nothing it is showing. And it is running at 27017, which is the default port number from last 7 seconds. The deployment is still coming up because the container is in creating state. And you go to Mongo, you will see it's a big image. So it will take some time to create it. And then I have the replica set. So this is my first container. Okay. Now there is another container here. And let me take this out. Let's see what is written here. Okay, so I'm putting two components here. One is deployment. The other one is service. The name of deployment is web app deployment. And the name of my service is web app service. Here there is an app label as web app, and it should match with this guy. So I can see the node type, the type is node port. If you want, you can make it as load balancer because you are running it at load balancer because you are running it at cloud level. So you can make it as, and you can remove this guy. Okay, so load balancer, you don't have to fix the target port. You can run at any environment. And then it is a service and it is matching with this web app. Then you can see here, load balancer, TCP, it will run at 3000 port number. Fine. Specification, replica is 1. Okay. Match label is web app. So it is matching with this guy. Then in the metadata, if you see, I have a container and I am running a customized container here, or I'm running a customized image. If you talk about this image, it is actually present in my Docker Hub. So I am taking a Docker Hub image and I'm running it here. Let me just show you that. Docker Hub. So it's a public image. You can also go ahead and clone it. So I have to sign in. Now, let me say that you want to copy this, okay, or you want to create a duplicate of this, okay. Let me show you that first. You can see this is the image and it has been downloaded some 80 times. And if I go inside, to the tags, I can see v1.0 is the tag, and this is the code which is written inside it. Obviously, you will not be able to understand much about this, but you can see it is using the environment variable as MongoDB username, Mongo password, and this is a module which has basically a NPM or Node.js application. Okay, but you are not required to learn all the Node application. Simply in your real environment, if you want to run this, you can see, you can come here and say Docker pull, you can pull this image. So just come here, one step back. So if you want to pull this, you can simply copy this command, come here, copy this command, paste. So this is how you pull the image. Once this image is pulled, then you can tag it. So come and say Docker tag. Now let me say your name is different, paste it here. So sorry. So you can say Docker tag and you can tag it with your name. Okay. So let me say your name is alpha123, alpha123. And then whatever name you want to give. Suppose you want to give the same name and the same tag number. Paste. So now if you come here and say Docker images, you will be able to see this image. So alpha123, you have named it. Now you do a Docker login with whatever ID you have. Okay. And once you have logged in, just do a Docker push. So this particular image will go to your repository. But remember, the first, this thing. So this must be your Docker Hub ID. This thing must be your Docker Hub ID. Okay. And then whatever you want, followed by your tag number. So this is how you clone it. You first pull it, then you tag it or rename it with your Docker Hub ID, do a Docker login, and then push the image. And then in this particular code, you can use your image rather than using my image. So I have this as my image, which I'm going to use. And here, the most important thing is it is going to use a username. It is going to use a password. The username will come from a secret file, which is named as Mongo secret. The key is Mongo user. And the password will come from, again, from the secret file, Mongo secret. And this is the one. Then it has a DB URL, which it needs, and that will come from the config map. And this is the config map. And then I have the load balancer, which will see my application. So let me just copy this entire content, paste it here. So nano, let me say web app.yaml. See, most of the times your developer nano web app dot paste it, Control X, Y, enter. So I will delete this guy because I am not using this. RM minus RF. Okay. So if you come here, ls minus L, you will see I have, fuck, I deleted it. Wait. Nano web app dot YAML. I accidentally deleted it. So I'm putting it again. Yeah, I think there is Y enter. What is going on? Let's nano web app dot YAML. What is the problem, man? ls minus L. Okay, wait, let me delete these two guys now. RM minus RF W start. So anything starting with W will get deleted. So now nano web app dot YAML, and I'm going to copy this entire thing and put it here. Control X, Y, enter. Now go ahead and say kubectl kubectl apply minus F web app dot YAML. Okay, so this deployment and service has been created. Come here and say kubectl get all. So I want to see everything. So I can see my web app deployment is running, my pod is running, my service is running, More importantly, this particular service is currently pending, but this should also run at port 3000. Okay, so let's wait for this to come up. If you just want to see the service, say kubectl get service, SVC is the full form, sorry, short form. As of now, if you see here, this is running at this particular port number 3000. So let me try to open this. 1, 2, 3. And here you go, it is opening. Now, you may face a problem here. Okay, so in case you are facing a problem, you have to open that port number. I'll give you that command for opening that port number. Cancel. The command will be something, not this guy. Let me check where is that command. This is the command. I'll share it with you. Okay, here I'm opening port 8080, but in case you want, you can open your port number. So your application is running at 3000. 1, 2, 3. Okay, give a unique rule number, or it will give an error. Okay, and say gcloud compute firewall rules, create a rule and allow port number this much. So TCP is a channel, or it's a way in which you can open your port number. So TCP is basically a protocol like HTTP, HTTPS. There is a TCP protocol. Okay, fine. So this is if you want to open your 3000 port number. For me, it is already open. Now I can see an application which is running here. And this is running at port 3000. If I want, I can make changes to this. So let me show you if I can make changes to this. So let me say I'm making a change. Update profile. So this is working. Now you will say, no, where is the database? So this is not that advanced application that everything will be visible. Only one thing what I can do is close this guy, come back again, open it, and you will see the same content is available. It means it has been stored in the database. Okay, so basically the end result of this demo is not to show you that whether this application is running or not, or where this image is coming from. So I'm not interested in that. This is an application which is running because of this guy, this image. This image, if you want, you can change, go get the image which I am running, take a clone of that, make changes, whatever you want to, and run. So that is what I'm trying to show you here. Now, the main purpose of this demo was to show you how I can integrate secret and config map. There will be many interview questions, not one or two. There will be many interview questions. If you are preparing for exam, then also you will get a lot of questions where they will ask you what is a secret and what is a config map, what is the difference between them, and why am I using it. They may not use it directly, or they may put a scenario based question where they will say, I have an internal application and I want to share some data securely. How will you do it? So you have to tell both the options of secret and config map. Once you write secret and config map, you will get that, but how to use it? So you have to define something called environment variable. And in environment variable, you have to go ahead and say that there is something going to be a username, and the value is going to come like this. So remember, whatever you see in dark blue color, that is a template. So things can change like this. So if it is not username, in your company, it will be login credentials, but this guy will remain same. The key will remain same. Okay. So whenever I'm sharing something with you, the template will remain as it is. The template is not going to change. Suppose I don't want load balancer. I can change it to node port. So like these changes can happen, but 99.9% of the times the template will remain as it is. So make sure that you are keeping a clone of whatever we have done in this particular thing. Okay, so I was able to expose my application, and in the process of exposing my application, I saw two important things. kubectl get all. So I'm able to see two important things. There is pod related to my Mongo, which is a database. There is a pod related to web app, which is my front end. They are able to share the credentials URL in a very secure way using secret and config map. Point number one. Point number two, there are applications like there is a Mongo deployment. Sorry, there is a Mongo service, which is cluster IP, not exposed to the outside world. And there is a web service which is exposed to the outside world at a particular port number. So I see both the varieties available here. Okay, now I'll open it for questions if anyone has. Then what is the type opaque? Type opaque is the default type of encryption technique, or when you write a secret file, it's a default type of secret. One last thing before doing anything. The major problem here, what I see is that the application which I have created or the content which I'm running is not secure. So this is one of the major problems which I see here. And the second problem is that this guy, okay, this guy is not a domain name. So in the coming class, I will be talking about something called ingress or ingress controller. So ingress is another layer of security on top of your container, and it will be something like this. So load balancer, this is coming from your cloud environment. So it will come to your ingress. So this is your pod. Inside your pod, your container is running. So you are exposing your pod via service. But when you expose, these two problems come. You don't have a SSL certificate, and it is an IP address. So I am planning to use another service on top of this, which is ingress. See here.
So then whatever we have learned now, it has a drawback.
It has a drawback. So we will be using ingress and ingress controller, and that will fulfill that problem. Okay. This is not that great. So whatever we have done till now, so whatever traffic we will be getting in future will come from HTTPS, www, HTTPS. So I will get a secure channel. That secure channel will first hit my ingress. After ingress, it will come to service, and from service, it will come to my pod. So ingress is something which I'll be teaching you in the coming class.
Sir, when you are teaching ingress, again, you will be creating the secret file and then config, right?
You see, that's what I said. When you write the code in a declarative way, you don't have to do much. You have to run the same set of YAML files again. So as of now, if you come here and say, so I have 4 YAML files: config, secret, Mongo YAML, and web app YAML. So if I have to deploy it again, I can simply come here and say kubectl apply -f dot.
No, not for deploy, sir. I'm talking about the file which will be creating. Again, you'll be creating, or directly you will be using
no, I can directly use it. It is there. No, it is there. See, if I delete the cluster and I again create it, it means all the content will be gone, right? If I leave the cluster as it is, the file will be here only. So next time when I want, I can simply go ahead and run all these things. And if I want to run everything in one shot, I will simply say kubectl apply -f dot, means whatever YAML files are there, execute everything for me. So with one command, I will execute everything.
Okay.
Okay.
The only problem is that I'm not able to understand this config and secret.
This is to pass environment variables. That's it.
Yeah. Template is okay, but out of template, we'll be writing something, right? That is a bit.
We'll have to practice, man. It has no shortcuts. I can't help here.
For the secret and config file, when you encrypted with the base 64, so how in the background, how it is going and hiding the password, like how it is
See,
happening in the
this is what
background?
I was trying to show you here, but I don't know what's the problem. It is not showing me here. Ideally, it should show me here. It says no rows to display. I don't know what is the problem here. It generally shows you those values and you get a star, star, star thing like here. I don't know what is the problem with this guy.
Okay, so when we give the base 64, like it is giving the encryption. Like if I want to go with the English one, like it is encrypting the password, right, securely. So how would I know that what password I kept and how it got encrypted?
You will not be able to know all those details. The tool will manage it for you. So you don't get that level of control. You will not be able to go and control all these things, man. You will be able to see it, but not able to control it in that way. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Means like I don't know. Like it's getting understood, but like something is missing regarding the password encryption, and it is going in the background.
Start practicing it. Okay. Once you start practicing, there will be many other questions which also will popping up. You can come with all those questions. I'm more than happy to answer those questions.
Yeah, because one thing, because like we can save like multiple secrets in one part, so and we can refer in other places also, right?
Yes, you can see within the cluster, you can refer it anywhere. And more importantly, it is not getting stored in your what you say in your pod. It is getting stored in the master node. So in master, there is a etcd, which is the brain of the cluster. That guy will keep everything.
Okay. And also for the secret manager, like how we are using KMS key or that
Secret
one
manager.
So that one we are where we need to specify in the ML file how we can specify that.
Can you repeat your question?
Like we are storing the secrets in the KMS store or some other secret store is there, right? So that one, anywhere we need to mention.
No, you do not have to mention. See, if you are working, there is a separate component called secret manager.
Yeah,
so
we store all the keys in the secret manager.
Correct.
We are referring that secrets in the ML file, right? So where
wait. But this secret manager which you're talking about, it has nothing to do with my cluster. This secret manager is at GCP level. Okay.
Yeah, in the GCP level, I totally understand.
Now when you're
so that is a store like external. That is a like G Cloud, whatever AWS. It is storing like it is a external service. So
within
external secret store. So we are keeping all the secrets in there. So and
no, wait.
Yeah.
Wait. See, there are two things here.
Yeah.
Let me say, this is my GCP platform, the entire GCP platform. Here I got this environment to work with. Here I am running a Kubernetes cluster. So whatever secret you are creating, it is here within your cluster in the master node. The secret manager is on GCP level. Secret manager. This secret manager is at GCP level. Okay. But the secret which you are storing, this guy, it is at your cluster level.
Yeah, okay, that is okay. But how we can refer in the ML file? So
this is how we can refer. No? I showed you in the YAML file. This is how you refer.
Okay.
This is what you say. I need value for this user password. The value will come from a secret file whose name is Mongo secret. And inside that, there is a content or a key called Mongo password. So this content, Mongo.
So no need to mention like ARN name, some ARN number, some kind of.
You just,
for example, like in AWS.
See, you give the name of your secret file and what element you're looking at. So I told Mongo secret, Mongo password. Mongo secret, Mongo password.
Okay. So, and one more thing, because you mentioned like there is a type, right? So what what kind of types will be available? Like how we can specify that? So in the secret
types in Kubernetes. Opaque is something which I have also worked with. Others I have also not worked with. It is
okay.
So I never inquired about all these things, but since you are asking, let's try. See, mostly they will use this only. Type is equal to opaque.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
I have never tried to go inside and check all these things.
Because can you explain the kubectl get all output?
Okay, see, kubectl, when you run like this, kubectl get all. So it will show you all the generic outputs. Okay, generic output in the sense these all are running in a particular namespace. Okay, it is not showing you things like secrets and your config map, because if you come here and say kubectl get secret, suppose I want to know about the secret, kubectl describe CRI describe. This is a secret. Okay, so describe secret. See here. So if you see here, it says there are two data items which are stored here: Mongo password, which is 13 bytes, and Mongo user, which is 9 bytes. Okay, and the type is opaque. Now, when you run this guy, kubectl get all, it gives you 4 informations to be very precise. The first information it talks about is the deployments, what all deployments are there. Inside those deployments, what all replica sets are there. Then inside that, which all pods are there. And if there is a service, it will talk about the service. So when you say kubectl get all, these 4 components will be shown to you.
So currently there are 2 pods only running, right?
Yeah, 2 pods are running: Mongo pod and web app.
And remaining the services to giving the support to that one. Port and all these.
To expose it to outside world like this. See here. It is
understand. I thought each and every place the name and under some services pods, right? I thought all are pods.
No, not all of it.
Okay,
Pods
that is
are
one
only
thing.
a logical layer on top of your containers.
Yeah, that is one thing. And another thing, Mango secret you used, right? Is it mandatory to use only Mango secret?
No,
or
no.
any?
You use any word. Keywords are anything. See, whenever you write a YAML file.
Understand.
Any
Got it.
Name can be anything. You give any name. This guy is constant, but this guy is not constant.
Because you are right, Docker image is hard coded. If it is a dynamic value, what do you do?
Then you have to use another environment variable and have to pass that environment variable.
How will you do that?
I will have to explain that later. Cannot this thing. Ratna, can you privately some real-time scenarios could you tell me good time or an email ID approach? Ratna, you drop it in the what you say the WhatsApp window we have. I'll answer it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, hello.
Yeah.
Can you please explain again web.yaml file and mongo.yaml file content?
So the web.yaml file is nothing different. We have already covered it. But if I have to explain this, let me hide this first. Hide this guy. Hide this guy. Hide this guy. Now, I know that when I write a deployment file, there are 4 major components: API version, kind, metadata, and spec. Okay. So API version is something which comes from Kubernetes itself. Kind is also Kubernetes itself. In the metadata section, I give something called a name. You give any name of your choice and you give a label. Now, this label has to be same throughout. It has to be same here in your specification section in your service. It has to be same here in your specification section of replica set, pod, everything, this label has to be same. Okay, so label is how you identify all the components. Now, let me bring this back. Now, in specification section, the first component talks about replica set. How many replicas you want? Let me say you want 5 or 3, you mention it. Then this particular content talks about your pod. So the match label is your replica set. Then this is your pod template. And inside the pod, you are running this particular container. Okay. This particular container, this is the image which is getting pulled from my Docker Hub. And the name is given as web app. And it will run at 3000 port number. So this is as usual. The new thing which is coming here is this guy, the environment variable. There is 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 environment variables: login credentials or username, Mongo secret. How come this came twice? Achha, user password. It was username. Okay. So if I talk about user password, so it is a variable. It should get a value. Where the value will come from? It will come from a secret file whose name is Mongo secret. And inside this Mongo secret file, there is a value declared with Mongo password. Similarly, DB URL will come from config file. Inside the name of the config file is this, and there is a key which is designed here. Once this is done, you have deployment, replica set, pod, containers running. You want to expose it, so you will expose it via a service. Here I have mentioned the service can be node port, or it can be load balancer, or it can be cluster IP. Depends what you want to do with that. And if it's a node port, you mention the port number. If it is a load balancer, no need to mention anything. Automatically, a random port number will be allocated to this guy. Like if you see here, it was allocated. See here, a random port number was allocated to this guy. Okay. Now I will assume that you will go ahead and revise this. While revision, if you get questions, you come tomorrow and ask. It will be much more fruitful for you. Okay. Watch the recording.
Okay, sir. Sir, and the difference in what's the role of config map?
Again, you start the recordings, see the recordings. I've discussed it twice, thrice in the beginning also. See the recordings, see the recordings first, and then tomorrow when we start the class, before starting the class, if you have doubts, you can ask again.
Yeah. So because one last question. So regarding this manifest file, the declaratives, everything in the real time, like we'll be having a template kind of thing, and we'll be changing the names and the images. Or will that be there, or we need to learn the template as?
See, template never you have to learn. That is, I am 100% sure. You will never ever learn the template. Okay. Yes, there will be like 2 features are there, 2 features are not there. That kind of thing will be there. But let me say, if I have to write a playbook, okay, sorry, I have to write a YAML file. So the template will be like 90% same. Okay, API version, kind, metadata, spec. In spec, you will find few things here and there, but 90% of the content will be same. But you do not have to remember the template. That is for sure.
Yeah, just to keep, remember the logic of this type, sports and everything, so that we can change as according to the project.
Yes, as per your requirement, you have to change it. And remember one thing, to delete the clusters once you're done. I just forget them, and that creates problem. Fine. See you then, guys.
So, Vikas, could you please share the file with us?
The files are here in my GitHub documentation. I have shared it with you. You'll find everything here. KTS masterclass, everything will be here.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Even if because even if you switch off instead of delete, if you switch off also, it will chargeable, huh?
Little bit, not 100%, but little bit it will charge.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. See you.